The No Child Left Behind Act is a program that sets standards and develops standardized testing to ensure that learning standards are being met by all students. It is based on the ambitious goal that all children will be proficient in reading and math by 2014. Unfortunately, there are serious flaws in the approach that need to be addressed before it causes major harm in the education of our nation's children, says Schmidt. Once we see that an education includes multiple learning goals and that some of the highest priority goals are not included in the No Child Left Behind evaluation of a school's performance, we can consider the unseen consequences. First, we'll begin with the standardized testing consequences and pressures. The No Child Left Behind approach explicitly equates a student's test scores and basic skills with a successful educational experience. Schools in which students score high on standardized tests are awarded positive labels, such as schools of excellence, and their teachers and administrators rewarded. On the other hand, schools that have low scores receive negative labels, and their teachers and administrators are threatened with loss of jobs. Therefore, what is tested will be taught, especially when those results will be widely publicized. It is no simple matter to specify fully what learning is actually involved in a meaningful education, and more importantly, what it takes to help a child learn and grow in this learning. After the fact that consequences are a heavy factor on schools and teachers, we must look at what part of the curriculum is being neglected. Classroom time, previously used for learning, discussing, and exploring ideas, is now spent focusing on content expected to be on the test, or simply practicing test-taking skills. According to Jennings, to find additional time for reading and math, the two subjects that are required to be tested under NCLB and that matter for accountability purposes, 71% of districts are reducing time spent on other subjects in elementary schools. Moon said, as teachers concentrate on bringing all children up to general competency levels on bases such as reading and mathematics, other themes necessary for social development and higher level critical thinking have been pushed aside. A student's legitimate question, why do we need to know this, receives a practical response, because it's on the test. The curriculum in far too many cases becomes narrowed to meet the test requirements, eliminating worthy areas of learning and personal exploration and topics of interest that enrich knowledge and cultivate a desire for learning. Time for art and music, for example, is reduced and in extreme cases eliminated. There has been a decrease in the amount of time and attention that schools are able to provide to things like teaching students to work in teams to solve difficult problems, which are very important outcomes as far as business and industry are concerned, Moon said. And finally, we consider children with learning handicaps and advanced learners. Just think of the self-concept of children with learning disabilities who know their performance on tests makes them a liability for the school. Consider for just a moment the threat these tests pose to a learning challenged child's sense of self-respect and worth. Perhaps then you might understand the protests raised by their anxious parents. Consider, on the other hand, the plight of the high-performing students whose learning experience is contained, even stifled, by a narrow instructional focus to ensure success on a test. Gifted children, who often are ready to move beyond basic education well before their peers, also are feeling the fallout of No Child Left Behind, says Moon. Some of our brightest and most talented learners are being neglected because of the focus on bringing all children up to minimum competencies. In conclusion, we see that though the No Child Left Behind program seems like a great idea on the outside, once we look into it closer, we can see the many flaws of the act. As Moon said, it has had unintended consequences, which is what often happens when you provide a one-size-fits-all solution to a problem that is really complex. She also states that 6 years into the federal reform of the public educational system, known as No Child Left Behind, problems persist in schools. We just need to take a wider look and consider whether we are encouraging a well-rounded curriculum that prepares students for the modern world. We will have succeeded when we have created a learning environment where all students have the chance to excel. Ask yourself, is the No Child Left Behind program really the best approach we can come up with? Is it even a good approach when you consider the unseen consequences that have flowed from it? Is it truly helping or hindering our nation's youth? I can't turn it. Brandon, can I see my audience, please? Okay. can't get it. Oh. Okay. Okay, the end. Stop. Yes.
What year was the No Child Left Behind Act first enacted?
It was enacted in 2002, but it was first introduced to the House of Representatives in 2001.